All this extreme supercar action is proudly brought to you by Dunlop. Welcome to Zwartkops International World of Motoring for the final round of extreme supercars driven by Dunlop. We warmed you up there with a little montage of all the action, but it's now time to get into that action at the final round of the Extreme Festival, proudly brought to you by Coca-Cola Beverages South Africa. Extreme supercars are always a fan favourite, and there are big crowds out here today enjoying the practice session as Mark Totoy puts his GT1 onto the circuit, followed by Gianni Giannakaru, who's done a little bit of a shuffle in the G&H team to climb into the Audi this weekend, giving Jimbo the big Nissan, and of course the Ravenol machine there of Ricky Giannakaru looking to wrap up Class A. A welcome return to Marius Jackson from MJR into the Extreme Supercars. Let's get his thoughts on his return.
Yeah, well, it's very nice to be back here again, enjoying the extreme festivals and stuff. So I haven't been on the track for a long time, but yeah, I'm back and I'm glad to be here.
The previous round at Killarney, Jonathan Dutoy suffered a puncture, which cost him a little bit. Let's find out exactly what went down.
Yeah, look, I mean, looking forward to this weekend, last one of the year. Yeah, last race out in Cape Town. I don't know what quite went wrong. We were running quite heavy. I went with the BOP. I don't know if that put extra pressure on the tyre, but yeah, with 2 laps to go, and let go. When it let go, I could feel it was going, and I just thought to myself, I can probably try to finish it, but then I'll probably destroy the car. So I decided to rather park it up. But yeah, looking forward to a good weekend. Charles will be quick. Gianni's now in an Audi, so yeah, it's going to be a good race up front.
Let's see if we can find some tyres. There are some Dunlops available there, Mr. Dutoy. Great to see Paul Hill returning as well in the Primogen Audi.
Look, I got taken out in Cape Town, so I think Ricky's got 9 points over me coming into this weekend in the championship. Given the pace of today, I'm hoping the new tyres are going to work. I'm not sure about Ricky. He seems to be on the pace. He's about 0.4 off me, ahead of me in the last session. So let's see what happens.
The man who had a fantastic weekend in Cape Town in a really good-looking car with the Valve Fluid Systems AMG GT driver, that is Charles Orangis. Let's see what his plans are for this weekend.
Yeah, we had a great weekend in Cape Town. A bit of everything from a win to a podium, and then a bit of luck in the last race with Jono getting a puncture. Myself having a bit of problems with the splitter coming off, but yeah, good weekend all round winning. So yeah, off the back of that, we are at Zwartkops this weekend, and yeah, hoping to keep the momentum.
As we said, Gianni Giannakaru has changed allegiance. He's gone to the Audi this time for the first time. Let's see how it goes for him out there in the 4 rings.
Well, today is my first time driving the R8 GT3. Yeah, we're in the process of taking it over from Charles and Uncle Harry. What a machine! What a machine! The team have got it's on rails. It's a big change from the front engine GTR that we were racing, but I'm very happy with it, and it's a bit of a handful, but we'll get used to it slowly but surely. First time out, we did a 101.1 yesterday, so yeah, loving it at the moment.
Ricky's loving the pink Lamborghini, trying to wrap up Class A this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Zwartkops is our home away from home, you know. I mean, it's an awesome track to be at, and it's the final round of the Extreme Festival for the year, and we got points to prove and times to catch and lap times to break, and so yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great weekend. The cars are
set up amazing. The team's done a phenomenal job, and as always, Zwartkops producers. The weather is amazing. It's a bit hot, but yeah, we're really looking forward to this weekend.
Heading down to the start grid, that is what the grid looks like. Toy and Oranges on the front row. They'll be looking to fight it out for GT3 along with Gianni Giannacaro. Class A battle is going to be huge. Chris Budnick versus the Ravenel pink Lamborghini of Ricky Giannacaro. And then right behind that is going to be an epic battle between Paul Hill and Maurice Jackson. Looks like Hill got a slightly better start though off the line as they head towards turn 2. And Jackson closes him down under braking. Gianni Giannacaro in that all-conquering Audi, looking to make it all-conquering and looking to try and take on his 2 rivals and teammates just ahead of him there in Charles Oranges and Jonathan du Toit. We're on board here with Jackson as we come out of turn 3 onto the back straightaway, closing down onto the 3rd of those Audis, but of course it's the 2nd on track at the moment of Paul Hill. Just behind that, you can see the GT1 there, that Ford GT1 of Mark du Toit, doing a bit of development on that car, so great to see that machine out for the first time in Extreme Supercars. And then Ulisana and Jimbo Giannacaro at the back of the pack. As they come up towards the top of the hill and go through the AMG corner there, it's the AMG that leads out. So Ranji's with a slight advantage at the moment over his stablemate and teammate there, Jonathan du Toit. As they come down to the line, though, it looks like there's a possibility of a jump start, though, for the AMG. So Oranges could be in trouble as they come through there. And he's going to get a 30-second penalty for that jump start as they head towards turn 1. Right on his tail is Jonathan du Toit, who'll be loving the fact he wouldn't be knowing any of that just yet. But by the end of the race, when he finds out about it, he'll know he probably didn't have to fight as hard for the lead as what he's trying to right now as they come out of Castrol. Heading up onto that back straightaway for the first time. It was pretty tight. It's opened up slightly there, as you can see. And Gianni Giannacaro under a little bit of threat there from Chris Budnick. Budnick leads Class A at the moment, but Ricky Giannacaro just has to stay behind Budnick to wrap up the championship. So he's not going to push too hard. He'll be a little bit wary about the 2 Audis on his tail. Not allow Paul Hill and Maurice Jackson to maybe close in the back of him and put some more points between them. But it's a bit of a tight fight there between those top 3. You heard from Paul Hill's interview. There's still a chance for him. It's a mathematical chance for him to close in and still beat Budnick and Ricky Giannacaro should things go wrong in this 3-race format that we've got here for the final round. Back down the hill they come again. Another lap completed. Budnick closing in on Giannacaro. It's a bit of a Giannacaro sandwich there. Then the 2 Audis and then Mark du Toit just behind that in the GT1. On board here with Maurice as we come out of turn 8. They go across the line. This is such a cool shot. Heading across the line and down into turn 1. The onboard shot just showing how he closes onto the back end of Paul Hill. Probably under braking, he'll get him a little bit closer. He just seems to have an advantage slightly there over Hill on the brakes. Then there's this absolutely awesome piece of machinery. A little bit of development on this car, as I said. I'm not quite sure where he's going to be running that next year, but hopefully it's going to be in Extreme Supercars as well as possibly at the Passion for Speed Festival. And looking forward to seeing that car in full flight once he's got it up to pace. Mark du Toit, and that's the pace he's looking for. But the pace that's coming out of Maurice Jackson is pretty superb. He is closing the gap down there on Paul Hill. Speaking of the gap has come down dramatically between the Lambo and the AMG out front. Du Toit is putting pressure onto his teammate. I wonder if they radioed through to him to tell him that he has got the advantage of the jump start that's now being allocated to the man who leads things out. I know that if Charles Oranges is at the front end and realizes he's got a jump start, he's probably going to try and get away, but he hasn't been able to get away from Jonathan du Toit. Same thing can be said here from Gianni, but remember, this is first time out here in race pace for Gianni Giannacaro in the Audi. And if that's the change-up he's looking to do for 2026, it might not be a bad thing. And every other driver that's been in that car has been all-conquering. So once Gianni gets to grips with that car, he could potentially be in the running for a championship in the GT3s. That's the national championship they're fighting for. Oh, a little bit of issues there for Mark. I did say he's developing the car, so maybe a little bit of a niggle that needs to be sorted out. That Bailey Cars machine has got some serious turn of pace, though, which is really good to see on its first outing. Coming up to the checkered flag and into traffic, Ulisana now being passed by the top 2. And Jonathan du Toit just sitting on his teammate's tail, exactly what he needs to do. He doesn't have to do anything more than finish up behind Charles Oranges, and knowing possibly by now that he's got a 30-second penalty advantage that's going to come, he's going to just settle for second place, and that'll then, of course, move him up into first place on the penalty that will be imposed a little bit higher up there. Ulisani comes through to finish up a good run there for him. He finishes behind the incredible first drive there from Jimbo Giannacaro. Du Toit takes the win ahead of Gianni Giannacaro, and then Charles Oranges dropped down to third place. Budnick taking Class A ahead of Giannacaro and Hill, and then Class C went to Jimbo ahead of Ulisana. Join us after the break for Race 2 action here from Extreme Supercars driven by Dunlop. Welcome back to Zwartkops International World of Motoring and to race 2 of 3 of the Extreme Supercars driven by Dunlop. This time Jonathan du Toit will try to dictate the pace and hopefully not get caught out like he did earlier on with a jump start coming from his teammate. And I think Arungis will try and remedy that. He doesn't want to lose that 30 seconds that he got in the first one. Arungis has got the whole shot and leads down towards turn number 2, Castral Corner, with Gianni Giannacora closing rapidly. A much better start from Ricky this time, as he has got ahead of the V10 Viper of Chris Budnick. That's where he needs to be. He's got to stay ahead of Budnick to take the championship. And it's really close because even with Paul Hill's third place, there's still another mathematical chance for him to be in the running for a top 2 there. If he can get ahead of Budnick, there's a little small chance that Audi could sneak up and spoil the day there for Budnick. But Budnick's going to push hard to ensure that he stays in second place in the championship. He's second place on the road at the moment, 5th on track though. The second place on the road at the moment is Jonathan du Toit again. And it's Arungis who leads things out. Look at the pressure, though, coming from Budnick. He realizes he's got to get ahead of that Lamborghini. In order to win this championship in Class A, he has to beat Ricky Giannacora on every single occasion today. Marius Jackson tucks in behind Paul Hill again, follows him through. Great to have the MJR Audi back again. And great onboard shots from him again. It's nice to see the GT1 back on circuit, so looks like Trans-Africa Racing have been working on the brake to get that car back up for Mark du Toit. Let's see if it goes a bit better than it did in the second heat this time out. Now as they head towards turn 4, a little bit of a gap opening up there between the two Audis. Hills open up a bigger gap than what we've seen all day long so far between himself and Marius Jackson as they head to the top of the hill and onto the brakes for turn 5. Ricky Giannacora still manages to keep out Budnick, but he's closing on his brother. It looks like Gianni Giannacora could be in a bit of trouble there, and he's about to be caught by the Lamborghini and by that V10 Viper. That Dodge Viper in full flight is one of the most awesome sounds you'll ever hear around the Zwartkops International World of Motoring, as is this machine of Mark du Toit's. Look at that, absolutely beautiful stuff. That GT1 built by Bailey Cars, really looking good. And Mark du Toit, as I said, once he's got that thing flying, he's going to be a tough competitor in that Class C field. They head down now into turn 2. This is Gianni Giannacora. Nice jib shot here. And look at that, how we follow through up close and personal with him as we go through Castral Corner. He's now opened up a little bit of breathing room between himself and his brother. His brother is hoping for a little bit of breathing room between himself and Chris Budnick, but that hasn't happened. Budnick is applying massive pressure. He's not going to give this up without a fight as they head towards turn 5. Late on the brakes again. The Viper slightly heavier, I think, than possibly the Lamborghini. And of course the Lamborghini will have all the additional driver aids and assistance and help out with the handling on that car. Budnick's more of a how much you've got on that right foot and how much you can catch the steering wheel. But Bucketless Racing is coming, and coming big time. Two Audis in a little bit of fight of their own. They're leaving Mark du Toit behind them. Jackson trying to close the gap down on Paul Hill, but not getting it right just yet. Paul Hill just puts the car through there perfectly. Also just a shout out there, of course, to Paul Hill's daughter for a quick recovery on that injury she picked up. I'm sure she'll be looking forward to the break at Christmas to get herself back up to 100% ready to go for 2026. But Paul Hill is 100% to go here to beat out the second Audi on track at the moment. It's the third one, of course, on the circuit, but I don't think they've got the same kind of pace as what Gianni's got a little higher up the road. And there you can see Paul just in a nice rhythm now and getting away. Jackson, I think, is realizing, let me just bring this car home. I'll be happy with a nice little third place here. And of course a little bit of yellow flags up there. I wonder if there was a car that had a bit of an issue just picked up there. No, it looks like it's all clean and clear. Maybe just somebody just going off circuit there ever so slightly and then back on track. But now as they come out of turn 6 and 7, we're on board with Jackson. Heading down towards turn 8, flicks through and down towards the new Zoc Club there on the left-hand side. And that's Jimbo Giannacora. He's had an absolute blast out there as we're getting into the closing stages. We're into the back markers, which means there can only be a couple of laps, probably the last lap, in fact, as we get onto it now. But Arungis has opened up a little bit of a margin, using that traffic to his advantage slightly. But Jonathan du Toit, second place on the road right now, will wrap up the GT3 Championship. And that's something he's been fighting with all of the top contenders with all season long. They come up on Jimbo, blue flags waving to let Charles Arungis through. Arungis, I think, might have picked up another jump start penalty. That's going to be a massive disadvantage for him. It might even drop him down in the points slightly as well and give Gianni a little bit of a chance in the third and final heat to maybe squeeze into second place overall. We'll have to wait and see how the points work out as they come to the line to take the checkered flag. And it is Charles Arungis who gets it first, but he'll get that 30-second penalty. And it'll be a win to Jonathan du Toit ahead there of Jimbo Giannacora in the big Nissan. That is an absolute beast. Ricky Giannacora has hung on for Class A. He's kept out Budnick. And that might just be enough to put that one hand on the Class A trophy for 2026. A good run once again there from Paul Hill. He beats Marius Jackson to the line. And behind that, it'll be Uli Sana and Mark Dutoy who'll be coming through as well. They come into that back straight away. There you can see it. Dutoy, Jonakara and Arunjis with that jump start again. Ricky Jonakara takes Class A ahead of Budnick and Paul Hill. Class A was also good there with Jackson and Dutoy. And Jimbo Jonakara once again beating Uli Sana for Class C. Looking forward to race 3 straight after the break. Into the final race of the season now, and they are down in the pre-race paddock ready to rock one more time. To get out on track for the last time of the season is always an awesome opportunity, especially after a hard-fought championship. And it's been a particularly good one for the G&H Transport Stable and Stradale Motorsport. This time though, Charles Arunji is going to try and hopefully get a non-jump start and manage to start the race without any penalties. But everybody else now going to roll out for the final time for 2025 and see if we can wrap up all the titles. One hand on the trophy there for Ricky Jonakaro. It's basically the championship done and dusted for Uli Sana and for Jimbo Jonakaro. And at the front end, Jonathan Dutoy has done it. He's now going to just try and get a bit of a swan song and get that final victory in the bag. They come around turn 8. Understarters orders now waiting for the lights to go out. That's when they can drop the hammer. And they will then fly into turn 1. And this time, yes, Jonathan Dutoy is the first car across the line. Thanks, Charles. First time we've got a non-jump start out of him there for the day. Let's see what he can do about it, though. Marius Jackson behind Paul Hill again as they head towards Castral Corner, closing in on Budnick. An inside line from Jonathan Dutoy coming into Castral Corner. That's exactly where he needs to be. It'll be wing mirror to wing mirror there between the two very evenly matched GT3 cars at the front end. But is it Dutoy who's got the advantage? He'll have the inside line for turn 4. They've been through 2 corners side by side. Make the third one turn 4. Here we go, up to the top of the hill. Can they make it 4 out of 4? This will be pretty awesome stuff. This is exactly how we'd like to finish up the championship. It's been like this all season long. Charles Arunji's late on the brakes into AMG corner. Will the AMG be victorious there? No, it won't. The Lamborghini has just snuck through. And it's Dutoy who now eventually gets through turn 6. Took him 5 corners to get to the lead, but they were literally, as I said, wing mirror to wing mirror, wheel to wheel, coming down into those first 5. And now at the front end, Dutoy going to try and open up a little bit of breathing room between himself and his 2 teammates right on his tail. The GT3 battle is basically these 3 cars. If they finish as they are right now, that's how the championship is going to wrap up as well. Jonathan's already wrapped up the title, but 2nd and 3rd place will be Arunji's and then Gianni Jonakaro. Jonakaros, as I said, have had a spectacular season. We've got a win out of Ricky Jonakaro in Class A, possibly by the end of this one, if he stays ahead of Chris Budnick. We've got Jimbo Jonakaro, who's taken a victory down in Class C. Uli Sana, his teammate, is 2nd in Class C. And Blunden in Class B. He's not here this weekend. He wrapped up the Class B title down in Cape Town. So a really, really spectacular season there for the G&H stable. As they head to the top of the hill, the Audis now coming back into each other's throats, and this time it's a little closer from Jackson on the back end of that Primogen Audi of Paul Hill. So MJR is on his way, and he's certainly not going to look to finish behind Paul in all 3 if he can. He would love to just reverse the roles, especially into this final heat. That last race victory of the season is the one that you want more importantly than anything, other than maybe wrapping up the title. But it just gives you that confidence going into the next season. Not that Marius Jackson needs confidence, he is spectacular. This is pretty spectacular stuff as well. Have a look at this. Our drone shot right on the tailpiece there of the AMG as it came out, and then it swings round and it picks up once again down into turn 2. Oh, that is spectacular. Uli Sana is ahead of Jimbo as they come out of Castral Corner. Zed just getting ahead of the GTR, but what a good little battle between the two of them. Great friends and, of course, teammates having some fun at the final round of the 2025 Extreme Festival and Extreme Supercars driven by Dunlop. It is a bit close to this time from Jackson, but he still doesn't seem to have an answer there on Paul Hill. Hill has got that little Audi of his working perfectly. Those two are literally on rails as they go through those corners, and when you've got 2 cars so evenly matched, makes it pretty difficult to pass. There has been a pass though. There you can see it. Jimbo using the little bit of extra squirt that the GTR's got to find a way past on Uli, probably up the back straight away and then through turn 4, cementing it into turn 5 to secure the lead of Class C again. Looking for 3 out of 3 there today in Class C is Jimbo Jonakaro. This is awesome stuff from our drone coming out of Castral Corner, then swooping around from the AMG right onto the wing of the Lamborghini of Ricky Jonakaro, who has got some big breathing room between himself and the V10 Viper. Budnick is going to secure second place in the championship if he stays where he is right now, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. We've got 1, 2, and 3 in the GT3 battle on the road right now in formation as they're going to finish in the championship as well. So a really spectacular season coming to a wrap up here for 2025. And that's in the GT3 class, of course, Detoy, Arunjis, and Gianni Giannacaro. So Paul Hill coming through there. He's going to look to wrap up third place in Class A, because if Ricky Giannacaro stays where he is right now, he is going to win Class A, and he's going to get second overall in the Extreme Supercar Championship, which is a spectacular outing for him as well, and just adds another trophy to the G&H Transport stable. Marius Jackson's been in and out of the championship all season long, but it is a fantastic opportunity to see him back, and we're hoping he's going to be staying all season long next year. I know that he's working on potentially changing allegiance slightly. He'll have the Audi, but there's a Porsche in the bag as well, looking to maybe come and play for 2026. I hope it gets onto the circuit. It'll be great to have another Porsche on the circuit, and that might just give Paul Hill a bit more to think about. As they sweep into Castral Corner once again, he closes up. Paul Hill makes a small mistake. Oh, Jackson trying to capitalize on that little mistake. I think he missed a gear coming out of turn 2 there, but had a little bit of breathing room, so it just helped him stay just ahead of Marius Jackson, who was looking to hunt that one down. There's no doubt about it. Marius Jackson seeing that small mistake now, well, he put a bit more pressure. I think there might be into the closing stages. He's got 2 more laps to do it, so he's going to push hard. Jonathan Detoy, Oyster Catcher, Trans-Africa Racing and Stradale Motorsport, Lamborghini leading things out over that Valve Fluid Systems and Stradale Motorsport AMG. The gap between the top 3 there is equidistant basically, so it's plain sailing I think to the line here for Jonathan Detoy. I don't think much more pressure is going to come from Charles Arunjis unless we see something that happened like in Cape Town on the penultimate lap where we had a bit of a problem there with the Lamborghini and had to pull to the sideline, as you heard from the interview we did earlier on with Jonathan Detoy. Ricky Giannacaro, 4th place overall on the circuit. That will mean 2nd place in the championship overall, and ahead of Budnick, wraps up Class A if he stays there for the next lap and a half. Heading to the top of the hill, they close up onto the back markers. That's a great indication that we're coming into the last part of the race. And yet again, they close into these two having an epic battle. I think Ulisana has had one of the best dices he's had with Jimbo Giannacaro, because they've been in slightly more evenly matched cars. Jimbo with a bit more power under the right foot with the GTR compared to what he'd normally be in, but he's loved life in that Bisque GTR of his as they come through there, normally piloted by his son Gianni. And coming to the line, they'll get the final checkered flag from Henny the Flag, who also has his swan song here, as he'll be retiring as our official flag man here at Zwartkops. We wish him all the very best as he goes into photography. And you'll get a couple of good shots of these cars, particularly when he's here at his home circuit. There it is, Class A and 2nd place overall in the championship for Ricky Giannacaro, beating Chris Budnick to the line. And there are the official results of race 3. Detoy, Arunjis and Giannacaro, your top 3 in GT3s, ahead of Giannacaro, Budnick and Hill, your top 3 in Class A. And this time out, Ulisana just getting to the line ahead of Jimbo to just steal that Class C honour for the final race.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, really a fantastic year. Stradale was absolutely fantastic. Joost and the team really prepared a fantastic car. Fantastic day today, 3 wins. I know not all on the track, there are a few jump starts involved, but I mean, yeah, really, the car was beautiful. Really a good, fantastic season.
Well done to Jonathan Detoy, GT3 champion. Class A champion is Ricky Giannacaro.
Yeah, we're very happy. We're Class A champions. It went right down to the wire with Chris Budnick and Paul Hill. We didn't expect to be coming into the final round leading Class A or being 17 points off Jono. Yeah, it would have been nice to take the whole overall. But yeah, we're super stoked. It's been a year of ups and downs, switching from McLarens to Mercs to Lambos. But yeah, the good old pink Lambos brought it home for us. We are number 1 in Class A, number 2 overall, and yeah, we're super stoked and looking forward to 2020. Marius Jackson, we're looking forward to 2026, and yeah, hopefully we can take the overall next year. And yeah, just a big thanks to my team, my wife, my family, my kids. G&H, without G&H, none of this is possible, and yeah, thank you Zwartkops, and we'll see you guys in 2026.
Overall championship results, top 3, Detoy, Giannacaro and Budnick. Detoy taking Class GD3, Ricky Giannacaro takes Class A, Jimbo Giannacaro takes Class C, and Anne Blunden takes Class B down in 10th place. We can't wait to see what's going to happen in 2026. And round one kicks off here at Zwartkops at the 25th anniversary of the Passion for Speed Festival on the 30th and 31st of January. All this extreme supercar action is proudly brought to you by Dunlop Tires.